Alright, so I made that note. We're going to go back to my left screen. And so I know I want some type of uint8 array. That's going to be our tile map. And we're just going to call like some type of function called, I don't know, create uint8 array tile map data. And function create, and we can just copy this over here. So I just realized that we need a few things. So we need the actual data. So we could call it the U8A pixels, something like that. Data array. I'm going to call it pixels like that. So even though these are going to be tiles, I do like calling it pixels because I do like to think of the data as pixels. I mean, in the end, all data is just numbers, so you can abstract it in many different ways. I don't know. I definitely know we need a width, and do we want to call it map width? Yeah, we'll call it map width. We'll say the map is 512, and the map height is also 512. I have my reasons for why I want 512 by 512. Because of how I will use this in the future. And I guess, to be consistent, maybe we'll call it map pixels, or we could call it, we don't want it to be the same name here like that. We don't want that kind of stuttering thing. That would be kind of confusing. Or we could put that internally, and we could do like map data. Map. These recordings are just going to be me like thinking about variable names. Map data. I guess maybe we want to be more general here, and then specific in the internals, right? Because that fits with our general to specific rule. And then if we want to encapsulate things later, having the more specific uint8 array name on the inside rather than the outside would make it easier for us to encapsulate data later, you know, like do some data hiding. I'm really not all about putting getters and setters everywhere, but if we do want to abstract it later, it'd be good to be more general and just call it map data. Right, because it could be a tile map. We could abstract this as a tile map. We could abstract it as a tile set, right, if we wanted to. Well, in the end, I just gotta pick a name, don't I? Okay, I kind of like that. Let's, I'm gonna go look at my shortcuts, see if I have what I have already. I'm gonna guess I do not have this variable yet. Nope, I don't. Map U8A probably does not exist either. I probably have something called level map though, right? Are you sure you don't want tile map? Right, we could already call it tile map. Map data. Okay, you know what? I do like tile map. We could call, so we could go over here. And instead of calling this map data, let me make a note here. Instead of calling this map, we could call it tile map. And then we can have variables like this. So it's a tile map, and then I kind of like that. Tile map dot map uint a array dot map width and map height. Okay, I like that. So going over here to make sure that, you know, in the future when we're writing code that we kind of use tile map, I'm gonna make a little note. Use you chose mapped out, but use, ooh, I spelled that wrong, and we'll say baseline. Chose, oh god, can't spell. Hold on. Choose versus chose. Chose, can't spell. Choose is the simple present and future tense to choose. Chose is past tense, that's what I thought. It just, I don't know, the word looks kind of weird to me. You know, sometimes when you look at a word too long, or you type it in a case that you're not used to seeing it, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't recognize that word. Chose? Sea hose? What's that? Never heard of that word before. Okay. So dat map, and dat map. And then, did I have any other things I wanted to call it? Nah, I think that's good. Going back over to the other side, let's flesh this out. Do we want to keep it? We're gonna set that to null right now. And do we need anything else? So that's a pretty good struct. So I'm kind of using this as a struct, right? And then we'll do a little object.seal on here. The tile map. So that's going to make it so we don't accidentally add any variables that don't belong, or protect us from making mistakes with typos. What next? So we actually need to fill this with some information, and also it would be a good idea to put our commas here before we get some syntax errors. So tile map dot map u8a equals, and I believe it's like new uint a array. Okay, so uint a array. Okay, length goes here. Okay, so what's the length? It is the width times the height times the number of components per pixel. So var map len equals, and then we'll open it up like this, and it's the map width, and then times the map, actually we can do that, like map height times the number of components, and we can just say 4 and just make a little comment, number of components per pixel, 4 equals RGBA. Okay, so we have this map length variable, and I'm just going to put a 1 right here, and then do that. So map width times map height times 4, that's going to get the map length. And so we'll put that right here. And is there anything else we want to do? Do we want to fill this with some type of default pattern as well? I think it would probably be good to do that. We already have some code that does that for us. Do we want to reuse that? Do we want to write something different? I say what would be nice is if we can kind of refactor some of the code that already makes those other patterns for us and kind of try to reuse that. So that's what we will do. And let's make sure that this code is actually running, or at least that it's not crashing on us. So let's go to the top monitor, close some stuff. This one, refresh, and I've made some type of mistake. So let's look at our console, and we have an unexpected token, so I probably, yeah, I don't know how I managed to screw simple stuff like that up. So like right over, well, I already fixed it, so let's refresh. F12, look at the console again. What did I screw up now? Map width is not defined. And that's because I forgot to qualify that with the, tile map dot map width. So over in my code, we're gonna fix that really quick. So tile map dot map width times map height, and this 4 here. Do we want? We could put it in here, right? I mean, this is not something I'm ever going to change, but do I really want to hard code that everywhere? What if you want... Because right now, I'm going to use each pixel as a tile value, but you might want your data structured in a different way, where it's like 1 byte per tile, so basically like a 1-channel bitmap. And then if that was a 1-channel bitmap where you're storing your tile map data, you'd want this 4 to be a 1 instead of a 4, right? So it's not too much effort to move that 4 into the tile map data. And I think the benefit and the flexibility is going to be worth it. And also it avoids kind of like hard coding magic numbers. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say, since we've been kind of starting all these variables with map, we're going to say map com for number of components. And we're going to say 4, and then number of components per pixel, ARGB, little comment right there, and then we can go over here and we'll just do like tile map dot number of or map com for components. And I'm just gonna make a note of this in my script really quick. So I'm gonna go over to my other screen, and then I gotta stop the video because I went over my time and I don't want to make these videos too long. So mapcom, nope, didn't do that yet. So map so mapcom map, and then like that. And then a little note of what does that variable name mean in this context. Map components, number of components per pixel. So when I say per pixel, you could also think of that as per tile or number of bytes per tile. But I like to, in my head, just visualize everything as pixels. And then those pixels have different meanings depending on the context. I don't know, I just feel like that's the easiest way to visualize binary data, is to just think of it as pixels, right? Because all data really is just a linear one-dimensional array, right? So two-dimensional arrays, three-dimensional arrays, those are all abstractions, right? On a hard disk, right, it's completely linear, right? Okay, so I got that, and let's make sure nothing's crashing. So I'm just going to go back and refresh and make sure we have everything working. Okay, so everything looks like it's working there. We're going to check out the console. Make sure that we don't have anything, you know, showing up in the console. Okay, so I don't see any problems. I'm going to stop recording and start again.